Tehachapi is in the mountains. Tehachapi is a mountain. And when you get there, you think you're going on vacation or something. You're driving through the mountains, and the scenery is beautiful, and you have to remind yourself that you're going to a prison. Well, I had I had been approved to come into the maximum unit, and there were 4 people going with me. So we had prayed about getting permission to go in the reception unit. Since we were going to be there, why not go, to 2? So we wrote the chaplain at the reception unit. Great guy, loved the Lord, and but he didn't answer my letter. And so as time got closer and closer to going there, as a group, Charlie Paris and Tom Goodson, Debbie, Charlie's wife, and Donna Goodson, we were praying about it. And I remember in a particular prayer meeting, I said, Lord, just send an angel to put that letter right in front of him. So anyway, we got out there, and just getting in that prison is a tough thing to do. So they escorted us into the reception unit, and we had a service there for the men. I noticed over the chaplain's door, he had a sign that said, much prayer, much power. And he invited us into his office, and he said, it's interesting. He said, I had your letter right on my desk, right in front of me, and I would push it aside thinking, well, I'll answer that when I have more time. And he said, I'd come back into my office and it would be right in front of me, be right in the center of my desk. He said, that happened 3 or 4 times. I was like, it's like an angel kept putting it. Well, when he said that, we all knew, because that's what we had prayed. And that was a blessing in itself. So we had people saved at that prison, and then the maximum security prison was next. When they send you to that prison, they know they've sent you to prison. Well, some of the inmates have told me if you go over the back wall, you still got to go over the mountain, over a cliff, and so we got there, walked into the yard, and there's guys just standing around. Most of them had the, I guess, called Hispanic mustache, tattoos everywhere, gang leaders. Well, there was a group standing right outside of the chapel, maybe 12 to 15 inmates, and we went on into the chapel, and we spoke to them, invited them to come to church, but didn't get much response. So anyway, before I left home to go to that prison, my youngest son, put a note in my pocket, just like I was getting ready to go to the airport. He just stuck a note in my pocket. And I still remember the note. It said something like, Dad, I love you and I'm proud of you. And more than anything, I never want anything to happen to you and Mom and Donnie. And it was just a special note, but I had it in my pocket. So we got to the prison, and we were individually praying that these guys would come inside to the chapel. And they did, all 12 or 15 of them, and they sat on the back row. Well, I preached. I don't have any idea what I preached about. But at some point in the message, I said, I want to read a note my son gave to me right before I left. So I reach in my pocket, pull it out, and read it. And This was like during the altar call. And here comes the guy who was the leader of the group, but I didn't know him. He comes first, and tears in his eyes. He said, "Man, that note got me." He said, "My dad's a preacher, and I've never done anything but brought misery to him. I'm ashamed." And then here comes another one and another one. Pretty soon all of them are down front to accept Christ. Well, this guy's name was Richard Turney, and he was a tough guy. I mean, he earned his way to that prison. But Richard said it wasn't the message, it was the note. He said, "My dad's a preacher, and like your son was proud of you, my dad must be ashamed of me. I've never brought anything but misery to him." And we talked, and he said he would write to me, and he did. But he said, my dad pastored a church in Sacramento, California. He said, "Do you think you could get in touch with him and tell him his boy is saved?" And I said, What church?" He said, "I don't even remember." I said, "Richard, I'll try." Well, I did call him, called dozens of churches, and nobody knew him. And I guess it was going to be my last call. But I called this one church and said, "Do you know a Reverend Turney that pastored a church in California?" She said, "Oh, yes, I know Reverend Turney." Said he's not pastoring anymore, he's retired. But said, I know him. I said, "Can you get in touch with him and tell him his boy has accepted Christ in the prison?" And gave her Richard's address, and Richard was able to communicate with his dad before he got out of prison, went back to Sacramento, and they were reunited. The whole story about Tehachapi prison was, to me, a miracle. And it wasn't so much the angel, that was the first thing. But then to get in this prison that was Supermax in California, the toughest prison, and having a note that my son had written to me that just said, "I love you, Dad, and I'm proud of you," that touched this inmate. God knew it would. I don't know what my message was, but it was the note that touched his heart. And Richard Turney was united with his dad.